terms of the Constitution, government is accountable to Parliament. Parliament, as the representative of the people, monitors and seeks to influence government policy and action through the budget. The budget is the instrument for translating policies and plans into public goods and services. Any policy or plan without a budget attached to it is unlikely to be successfully implemented. Economic success depends on the ability of government to employ limited resources with maximum effect. The role of Parliament in this regard cannot be overstated. Parliament's duty is to detect and prevent abuse, prevent illegal and unconstitutional budgetary conduct on the part of the government, make government budgetary operations more transparent, and hold the government answerable on how taxpayers' money is spent. Parliament exercises its oversight through various portfolio committees that assess the budget and other plans, as well as the performance of each department, including their financial performance, and hold them accountable. The budget process is crucial to good governance because it ensures that government expenditure remains aligned to South Africa's policy goals and objectives. What is also of great importance is that ongoing monitoring and tracking of the executive by Parliament allows for intervention in the event of wrongful expenditure and failures in service delivery. The process holds government departments accountable for their expenditure and gives Parliament and the citizens it represents an opportunity to make their own demands and interventions.
Dumelang, you're watching Parliament TV live. Lebitso la ka ke Tshepo Mori. The 7th Parliament's media engagement program aims to create platforms that enhance public engagement through various channels, amongst which briefings where committee chairs report directly to citizens and to the public. Now, on Monday, the 25th of May, the chairpersons of Parliament's Social Services Cluster Oversight Committees addressed the media and stakeholders during a press briefing from the Library of Parliament. Now, joining me now is the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, Ms. Lusizo Makhubela. Chair, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, and good afternoon to yourself and the viewers at home.
Thank you, Chair. Now, Chair, let's look at, let's focus on your briefing, right? The main focus was twofold: the slow pace of commercialization and transformation, and then increased investment for research capabilities at historically disadvantaged institutions. Let's start with the second point. Are we spending enough on investment in research?
Accordingly, we are not spending much because currently the budget is at 1.6% to GDP of science, innovation and technology. That in itself says that countries that have advanced are on over 1% or 2% or 3%, but ours at 0.61 indicates that we are not investing much on research and development capabilities. And that in itself poses a threat because we are not able to leverage on opportunities that are out there, opportunities that would transform our own economy. We are living in a highly globalized economy and environment, and we can only keep up if we enhance our capabilities and leverage on the opportunities that are presented by science and technology.
And of course, Chair, when you look at science and technology, we're talking about AI as well. And you've mentioned that living in a world where technology is advancing so rapidly. Why is it important that we do invest in research? And has the department also come back to the committee and reported as to why there isn't enough investment and resources with regards to investing in research?
No, remember the Department of Science and Technology is not a service department. It's a department that is out there to ensure that there is capacity that is built in institutions, institutions of higher learning, so that we are able to produce the necessary capabilities for the work environment. So the investment in R&D has to happen in the tertiary environment. It has to happen in the school, which is basic education. There, the country has to ensure that our students, as far as the lower grades, they are taught in robotics, they are taught in digitalization, and they are given the necessary tools so that when they get to tertiary institutions, we are able to look at where the gaps are in terms of service delivery for the country. And currently, within the social services cluster, we've seen that the pay points or how the Department of Social Development still distribute the social security to citizens indicates that we are still relying on a paper trail. We have not transformed, we have not digitalized that environment. We are not able to give services on real time. Which means that we still have a lot of work to do. We need to still invest in more capabilities that will ensure that we also assist the departments that are still, having to rely on paper, tracking of recipients of the much needed social security in the form of grants.
Now, Chair, you mentioned something that's very important in terms of how proper digitization helps government in its functioning, right? You just mentioned that we rely so much now on paper-based processes, which shouldn't be. In this regard, has the department sort of analyzed, right, and done their research in terms of why do we have these challenges? Is it a matter of money? Is it resources? Why is it that we have challenges in terms of the investment that we so need when it comes to research?
Remember, it's the departments themselves that needs to come into our agencies, such as your CSIR, your Human Sciences Research Council. It is those departments that needs to leverage and bring in the agencies that we have to be able to start the process. For an example, if we are to leverage on the capabilities that are provided by the CSIR, we are able to look into exactly where the challenges are. CSIR will be able to produce a technology that will be able to be tailor-made to address a particular problem. So it has to be the department that has challenges approaching our entities to be able to then give them the necessary technologies to enhance their work.
And seeing that it's a robust time now in Parliament where you're having many plenaries, budget votes and all that, has the department come forward in their reporting, and while they were presenting their budget, did they mention this, that these entities have come to them and show them what their challenges are, and in that regard they came to the committee to sort of say this is the amount of money that we want in terms of allocating for proper investment in research?
I think there can never be enough resources because government, with the limited resources that government has, it tries to cut the pie so that it's able to give all departments a fair share of what belongs to them. But what we have done through our collaboration efforts, I have engaged the Chairperson of Social Development to say, let's start putting our work together so that we don't also work in silos ourselves as Parliament. If we are to address such a situation where you find yourself still reporting ghost beneficiaries, it then means the problem is still there and the problem still persists. Unless we are able to have joint committees, joint collaborations, ourselves as the portfolio committees, we will then be able to from our side is science, technology, bring in our agencies, for an example, like the CSIR,
yes.
the Human Science Research Councils, to be able to say, perhaps let's pilot and see how best can we use R&D to identify the challenges, and then if we pilot and see if these capabilities that we are assisting you, how has the environment that you are working been improved? And most certainly, there is no way that if we highly digitalize, the payment system of the grant system,
yes.
it will not be if there will not be efficiencies. That will also be, an opportunity to also start curbing, the challenges of, corruption
yes.
in the system, which means these opportunities even strengthen, the payment system of the recipient of grant beneficiaries.
Now, talking about collaboration, Chair, I think it's quite important that you mentioned that it would be very beneficial to South Africans if the likes of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development were to partner with your department, so your Portfolio Committee, so that you're able to see what solutions your committee, or the department, of course, that you play oversight over, and how they can enhance the systems that social development looks at. With that, Chair, how do you then, because the last time we spoke, you said that there's this balancing act, right, that has to be done. How do you ensure that by innovating and digitizing systems, for example, let's say SASSA, for example, that does not impact on the fact that people get paid on time? How would, is research something that will go into that as well? Or what would then the committee do in terms of ensuring that the work that you're trying to do does not impact the man on the ground in an adverse way?
I think we can only look at the digitalization and using capabilities of artificial intelligence as opportunities rather than looking at it replacing the human capital. Human capital can never be entirely, eradicated by enhancing capabilities. It means that the men in the floor, or the men in the offices, the men and the women in the offices, will have digital systems to be able to even do their own quality check, because ultimately the grant recipient is a human person,
yes.
is a person, and if we use our capabilities, it means we'll be putting in efficiencies for the turnaround time more than anything. So you will still have personnel in the SASSA offices,
yes.
but then they will be relying on technology to be able to distribute the grant social security funds, meaning that in that space you are cutting issues of robbery, issues of corruption. You are also assisting the grant recipient not to spend resources to travel to the office. You are assisting the differently abled person to not travel kilometers to go to a SASSA cash point, payout point, but instead we will use the capabilities that are there, your real-time distribution of funds, which is your money, e-wallet systems that will be able to, the person will be able to get the money, perhaps at the comfort of their home. They'll also be able to then utilize their time to purchase the much needed essentials that these funds are used for. That in itself does not cut the human capital on the floor, but instead it enhances them. It gives them, capabilities to be able to use the most updated technologies to be able to distribute grants.
And talking about that collaboration between your portfolio committee and the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, can South Africans expect that there will be these joint meetings? And also, if there are going to be those joint meetings, what can they expect in terms of the debates and the conversations that might be had in that meeting?
I think South Africans can look forward to a parliament that is trying to find solutions to challenges. Seated here, we have identified the challenge,
Yes,
as it is reflected on the reports of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, as it is reported on perhaps the reports on Home Affairs and the various departments.
yes.
We've identified the challenge. Ours is, if services has to reach communities, what are smarter ways of us giving those services? And what is the most dignified way of giving those services? If in this day and age, in this 21st century, in the space of AR, in the space of most of citizens having a smartphone, why not use that opportunity to ensure that we bring in what these technologies has given us as opportunities to enhance the delivery of services. We have agreed on collaborations with the various portfolio committees, especially the one of science and of social development. We were going to have a meeting with a joint meeting with the portfolio committee on health. However, it has been moved to the next term.
Okay.
So it means within our parliamentary program already, you can see that we have started ensuring that our own portfolio committees, where we see that services needs to be enhanced, and we as science and technology can play a meaningful role in ensuring that we assist the processes, we assist those portfolios in their quest to ensure that the departments that they are oversighting bring in efficiencies. You know, they are able to track disease control, use modern technology to be able to, in real time, be able to bring in results that would save a life. You know, we are going to leverage on those, and most definitely our collaboration efforts will move towards even where we've seen that this is a result of our intervention into the space.
Now, Chair, just lastly then, could you tell the viewer what is it that they can expect from the Portfolio Committee in terms of your program, and most importantly, why they should be engaged? We always say that public participation is a very important part of democracy and ensuring that democracy works. What's coming up for the Portfolio Committee in terms of the program, and why should people tune in and also participate in those proceedings?
Citizens of the country are the ones that should inform the work that we do in Parliament and our portfolio committees. We are saying this is a Parliament of the people, and we are saying that it's a Parliament that should be working for the people. And the constant views and engagement from the public and the citizens is what should be driving the committees of Parliament. We should be engaging more with citizens so that we don't go the other way and citizens are playing the catch-up game with us. If we are a citizen-centric, focused Parliament, we will be able to even get feedback coming from citizens. We will be able to even get a collaboration where the views of the stakeholder, which is the citizens, gets its own space in the portfolio committee programs, because we want a situation where the confidence that citizens have of their elected representatives is at the level where they trust us. We understand that South Africans in their majority have this trust deficit when engaging with their elected representatives. And it can only be the representatives who will lean forward and do things correctly and start regaining the lost ground and the lost trust deficit that we've seen us as Parliament and elected representatives having on the ground. And it can only happen when we start deliberately ensuring that our programs and our portfolio committees citizens are able to input, and citizens are able to also write to us, when they feel that things are not happening or services are not delivered in their various localities. And it is Parliament that must take the central role and go down to the ground and ensure that the participation and the contact between citizens and their elected representatives is restored. Remember, as members of Parliament seated here, it is through the vote of the citizens that we find ourselves being public representatives, or we call ourselves members of Parliament. And the members of Parliament and the citizens out there are who we report to. So who we give reports to say, this is what Parliament is doing, this is how Parliament is trying to better enhance your lives by ensuring that they make things easy for you. They bring in new technologies that are produced in the country. They use research and development to the advantage of the citizens. The research must be able to find where the gaps are, in the provisions of services. We cannot just lament about service efficiencies and talk about it from a point of not knowing exactly where the problem is. And that can only be research and development that can bring us to where the gaps are. And then from there, when addressing the challenge, we are able to be focused. We are able to also do it smartly. And we are also able to cut or shorten the turnaround time to closing a case. For an example, where a citizen went to Home Affairs to find services, or went to SASSA, a pay point to report a problem or to register for the grant. So that in itself will then make sure that government cuts even the time space from application to the disbursement of the grants system.
In effect, Chairperson, South Africans can rest assured that the Portfolio Committee is working towards a government that is effective and efficient.
Most certainly, South Africans can rest assured that this Portfolio Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation is working towards ensuring that research and development does work to the advantage of citizens. We do not want to be a country that still depend on outdated technologies. We want to be bringing in the most recent, the most updated technologies. And we also want to bring technologies that are produced within the borders of South Africa. We want to be our own, liberators. We want to ensure that we consume technology that our own, citizens and our own students in our various universities have, produced, and that in itself can only be attainable if we invest correctly, if we are able to build capacity within our own tertiary institutions and in our own agencies and government entities that are there to ensure that they produce and assist the work of government,
Yes.
holistically so. And that in itself is your agencies and entities found within the science and technology environment, and that is your CSIR, your Human Research Council,
Yes.
you know, your technology agency, your TIA. Those are entities that are put in place to ensure that they assist the work of government. And government can only leverage on that and ensure that them providing services is enhanced.
Chairperson, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
And of course, that is the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, Ms. Lusizo Makhubela. Now, to stay informed about Parliament's program and, of course, the committee's program, you can visit our website at www.parliament.gov.za and watch Parliament's engagements on all social media platforms at Parliament of RSA. Stay informed and do participate. From myself here and the team behind the scenes, take care.